Welcome everybody and to this webinar organized by the ETF community of innovative educators and specifically by the New Learning Club on STEM innovation, STEAM innovation actually as we call it. And let's say the idea of today is to have what we call online discussions. So don't expect a large webinar, but we really we want to take the time within the club to discuss our approach for the next period of the club, but based on existing practices. So we typically really work with, let's say, starting from the needs of the members of the club. I will tell in a moment what the club is. Also, we have a special guest, Romain, who will be our keynote speaker, who doesn't know about the club. So it's interesting, Romain. Later on, you will tell me if this was clear. So as you know, within the European Training Foundation, we are supporting this community of innovative educators, where we have more than 1,700 participants. It's a large group of educators from all over Europe and especially the EU neighborhood. And within this community, a couple of years ago, we launched a new learning club focusing on STEAM innovation with two ambassadors of the community from Georgia taking the lead. We're going to have one who is leading our panel later today, and around 150 members. Now, 2024, a bit of history. 2024 was the year of the establishment of the club. We had many webinars. We really worked on the agenda, on what was needed from the point of view of the members. Then 2025, in this year, we are working and we have finalized the club output that I will show in a moment. That is the result of the discussions and the practices collection and so on. And we have connected with many STEAM actors around Europe and also globally, such as Scientix that you see there. It's one of the most important members of our community. And in 2026, this is a bit the logic of today. Typically, as the logic of the club is to try to move from the practice, from the innovators levels to the system level. So to try to see how, let's say, what we find, what we scout at the grassroots level by working with schools and with educators can be scaled up to the policy level or to the country level or region level and so on. This is the club outcome. It is basically a collection of practices, tools, scenarios, and ideas connected to STEAM with a feeling of low tech and high impact. So we try to be as inclusive as possible. But the beauty of this is that it has been created totally by the members of the club. So we have been together with Roberto and Steps who are helping us with the community. We have been structuring the information, but not a single word here comes from our writing. It's really totally co-developed by the members of the community, and it has recently been translated from English to Georgian. In case you want to translate it, it is fully open license, so just let us know. And this is let's say, a useful tool both for teachers starting, for managers starting or wanting to strongly implement STEAM into their school, based again on practices and existing frameworks. Now, we said before, and this is a bit of an anticipation of the panel that we're going to have today. So how we can reach the system level? We know because we talk to them on a continuous basis that many innovators are working with new ideas in the STEAM field. We have not only individuals, we have schools, we have companies, we have startups working in this. But how can we reach the system level? So should we, for example, focusing on supporting innovators, start from the innovators, start from the schools, and maybe embedding the concept of excellence or vocational excellence in the case of what we do in the ETF? Or should we start from policies that have proved successful and work on them? Or maybe the three strategies together, or maybe there are more strategies. We're going to hear from you during the panel and also from the panelists, but also from the members on how to try to start to gather some ideas to move to the system level. Small invitation, the club is still open. Through the club, you can share your STEAM teaching practice, and Next year, we're going to have a competition on innovative teaching practices. So we have here Olena Beck, our coordinator of teaching and learning activities, innovative teaching and learning activities with us. Maybe Olena, later you can say something on what's happening next year. So this to say that submitting a practice is still a good way to be part of the community. You can join this conversation and you can still contribute to the outcome of the club through practices by translating it and so on. And underneath here, and maybe Roberto, if you can share it also in the chat, we have the link to the web page of the New Learning Club. Today, we are talking about, as we said, scalability. We are going to have an opening keynote by one of the most successful FabLabs from Europe, from France, Paris Saint-Clair University, and it's about FabLabs as tools for systemic innovation, not just nice, beautiful, isolated experiences, but really tool for system development. And then a panel discussion moderated by my friend Merab Labazde with people, let's say, persons who deal with STEAM and with innovation and with teaching and learning innovation on a daily basis. I will not introduce them. I will let Merab do this. And then at around 11:10, we could have an open discussion, gathering your ideas. And then finally, we will have the conclusion, as I was mentioning before, by Olena, who can also tell us something about the next steps of this competition that we are cooking secretly at the ETF. Last slide, why FabLab matters. And I think this slide says it all. So it is about having students not only learning, but building, testing, failing, trying again, and inventing and reflecting on all these processes. Through FabLabs, learning becomes doing, and we know that from pedagogical theories, but also from life experiences, that that is possibly the best way to really fall in love with science and then pursue a scientific career. And of course, the FabLabs and STEAM in general is very much connected to 21st century skills, key competencies like problem solving, collaboration, digital literacy, design thinking, and many more. So that's why we decided today to focus on FabLabs as a possible starting point, an understandable starting point for policymakers, innovation agencies, donors to really scale up the STEM movement in a given country. Two links, and then I will stop. The first is a link to the latest STEM strategic action plan by the European Commission. STEM is one of the few priorities of the Union of Skills, that is the current overarching policy on skills at the EU level. So STEM is high in the policy agenda, possibly as never before. And then the link to the ETF Open Space and to the STEAM Club, what we are talking about, so you can explore, register, look at the previous recording, contribute to the outcome, submit the practices, everything that was said at the beginning. So this was a bit of the history of the club, of what we did until now. And now I think it's time to move to, let's say, the first experience. So I would like to give the floor to Romain to tell us not only how a Fab Lab, our successful Fab Lab works, but also how we can think, I mean, from your role about scalability. How an agency such as the ETF, we have a mandate to, let's say, push for innovation, in this case, policies in European partner countries, what we can learn from your experience in order to work in countries like Moldova. We have Victoria here, we have Bosnia and other countries, we have Edin here. So in these countries where we can, of course, starting from what exists. I was visiting the Fab Lab of Victoria, I was saying before, I was super impressed. So there is not so much, we're not talking about knowledge transfer, we're talking about knowledge collaboration, but of course we need to where to start from. And I think this is let's say, the key question that brought us to this online conversation today. Romain, I hope you can help with this, and I give you the floor.
Me too. I'm hoping I will be able to help with this. You can actually interrupt me if this is not going the right way, okay? So I have that web page. I just set up yesterday. This is a new talk. I haven't tried it before, this one. I didn't use it, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story, like where I started and how I developed the several aspects of the Fab Lab, like in terms of community activities and how it got somehow connected at the local level, national, international, and how I brought like several actors inside of the Fab Lab along the years. So if that makes sense, I'm going to start like doing that. So yeah, at the beginning, I wasn't really supposed to like run a Fab Lab. Like I wasn't in academia at all. I was an artist doing my research, and at some point, I needed to find some ways to solve technical issues, and I found out about Fab Labs on the web. It was around like 2010, something like that. And before finding the Fab Lab, I actually found the Fab Academy. So, like, first I was doing that. Okay, I was into art, making paintings, doing artworks in my studio. You have a Rembrandt here. You have my own style here. And then around 2012, I moved to the US to take that course that maybe you heard of before. That's Fab Academy. It's given by Neil Gershenfeld, who you may have heard of, who started the Fab Labs at MIT through an outreach grant. And they started to develop a few of them, including India and Kerala, in Finland at the very north, and in a few other places. So I went to the US like for 7 months. I took the Fab Academy, and then the Fab Academy is like a 6 months course where you get to go through a new topic every week. So this is a very intense one. And at the time, we were kind of the pioneers. So I was the first French taking that course and graduating from it. Um, and so after that, when I came back to France, there were almost no Fab Lab. Like there were like two of them starting. They were far from my house, so I had to wait for a little bit. Like in 2013, a group of researchers at INRIA, which is a research institute in computing in France, wanted to hire a Fab Lab manager because they had heard of it and they needed someone. So I got hired. And this was right before Université Paris-Saclay started. We had Université Paris Sud before, but we were slowly moving toward that new identity of Université Paris-Saclay. And so I was there at the right moment when I was able to start building the identity of the Fab Lab while the university was like starting to exist. And I think it helped in a way because like we were able to test and try new things. It wasn't really official, I would say, but there were pockets of money here and there we could use to develop the Fab Lab, so it was making sense to try. So I entered like into the Fab Lab world after the Fab Academy through research in human-machine interaction. So I got hired as an engineer there, and then I started to develop the Fab Lab. So Université Paris-Saclay is now among the like the biggest university in the world, blah blah blah. You know the story, Shanghai ranking, and now I have FabLab Saclay, which was FabLab Digiscope before. Digiscope is the name of a big grant that was given to develop like a platform for research support in the university. And so now we have the website I did a few years ago for the Fab Lab. This is where you land and you see what we do. So we have a few words. The keywords are empowerment, when you know already a lot. The commons, we're trying to work for the commons as much as possible. We're trying to stay distributed between places and people because in Fab Labs, the nodes, what we are, our super nodes, are the people. They are not the places in the globally distributed Fab Lab network. So if I move from Fab Lab IP I bring the node with me somewhere else. Everything stays in Saclay, but I move the node. So there's in that system, like no one else could be able to redo Fab Academy without me, for example. Someone else would have to be a Fab Academy graduate and take my seat in Saclay to do it. But it's not so hard to do. I have like students who could do it if I moved or if I leave the place. So we're into education, into research. We are community based. We are a third place as well, meaning the Paris region has been funding us to open our gates to more people than the universities. And so like we have these activities. I'm sorry that like the pictures are not loading right now, but because we moved to a new place, so we don't have our internet connection yet. But you can see these. Like this is like some kind of a panorama, you know, of pictures of things we do, machines we have. So this is silicone with 3D printed parts. You know, you mold it into it. This is laser cutting, no, vinyl cutting. This machine is very interesting because you can like mill surface like on meters and meters because but it's kind of semi control. Like that's a very interesting one, etc. You can see the whole equipment, the type of publics we can have. This is an incubator, like for mammalian cells, for example, I did a few years ago. Here we are controlling a paramecium, like with electric fields, etc., etc. So there are many opportunities to develop activities in the Fab Lab, you know, like between 3D printing and stuff like that. And here, for example, this is a nice example of something that happened a few years ago after during the COVID. Like there was a research happening, and some people needed to source these parts you can see here, but there was no way to get them from China or somewhere else. So they decided to laser cut them, and they did 20,000 of them in the lab. Like during 1 week, they kept cutting and cutting, and they went on the field to do their research with very small flies. They were working on trees that grow apples, apple trees, etc. So this is just a panorama of what happens in the Fab Lab, objects that are being made by students and people using the place. This is the inventory, I would say. Because we have an inventory, you probably heard of it, like the FabLab inventory is online somewhere, and you can just like rely to it and make sure you have almost all the components to make sure your community can like develop itself around the practices of FabLabs. Then we had Fab Academy at the beginning. This was the first course, and then we started to develop globally another type of courses. There was Bio Academy. That's a very interesting one, very intense as well. I'm trying to reach my, but the app is preventing me from touching my my tabs. I don't know why. Let me move that. Okay, that's good. Um, so how to grow almost anything is that program that's led by George Church, who's a famous geneticist at Harvard, and they started to develop that same concept like Fab Academy, but for biology. And we started it in Saclay in 2015, and I redid it in 2016. And we were two people taking it in France, so it's like a very, very, very small niche. But so many people took it in other countries as well. So it's kind of shaped the community, but this is a hard one, so that we're not too many. But then we had the other one, which is Fabricademy, and this one is focusing on digital fabrication and fashion design. And this is one that has a good dynamic. Like there's a lot of people taking it in Europe and in the rest of the world as well. This is basically a course when you learn to create surfaces, you know, where you can embed like functions and stuff like that. And this is my documentation page, my own one, with my final projects. And you can see like we go through everything. Like this is documented, and this is like the you can only graduate if you have documented everything you've done, obviously. This is one of the rare contexts where documentation is being done by people because they need to graduate. Otherwise, this is hard to make people really document their work because this is time consuming. I think this is one of the reasons. So after that, I started, well, I had started to give classes in the Fab Lab like in 2014, I think, and I recently came out with that new course that I give to my master students, the art of fabricating tangible interfaces. And I bring them like through a process of learning how to design in CAD, CAD design in 2D and 3D, but they have to make a 3D object out of 2D parts. For example, so we have a grading system, etc. Something you already know that's common, grading system, and at the end they do an exhibition at our new place. Um, so around that, so these courses are some are local, like the art of fabricating is only in Saclay. Bioacademy, Fab Academy, Fab Academy happen like worldwide. Like some people take it at 3 o'clock during the night because they're in Japan. We are having the same issues like the one we were having when we do this type of webinars, right? When people are too far. And out of these communities of students, sometimes you just have like another community showing up, like a community around, biology in that case. So we have the Global Bio Summit, which is a summit that happens at MIT. We used to go there, but after COVID, we didn't go back, but we do it online. And this one is also very interesting because you have scientists, like you have artists, and all like concerned by biology and its developments. And this is very interesting. So you can see that, like me participating to that community online or at MIT, I bring back some stuff, like some interesting contents and knowledge and network in Saclay. So this is always that. Movement of going somewhere, making relationships, and coming back with materials and for the mind and for the practices as well. Um, so after that, like we did something in Saclay because obviously since Université Paris Saclay is like a cluster of universities and schools, like we are 65,000 people in this university at the moment. So there are like 14 schools and universities that merged together. There were other maker spaces on the campus, on our campuses. And we are the Fab Lab, we are the open gate somehow. But other people have like digital fabrication facilities in the schools, like in Centrale Supélec or Institut d'Optique or at CEA, for example. So the idea was to develop a network of us, like of maker spaces and Fab Labs locally, and to start a community around that. So I created, and it's going to happen like at the end of this week, the second edition of Empower Université Paris-Saclay is about to happen. And this is that event where we are at the intersection between science, engineering, design, arts, and the idea is to somehow start the year like with the students knowing that they can do all this on their campus. You can if you go to that page later. Sorry, we don't have the links. Um, I can show you like the type of people we're having who are going to show their works on stands. We have I actually bring people who, for example, work in open hardware, 3D printing. This is Voron. This is an international movement of people like trying to give the best 3D printers, open hardware, uh, like for everyone. So they don't really sell them. They just like share the files and the knowledge to make them. There's a little business around it, but it's not too much compared to other actors like Purisa and others. Here we have a group of interesting people as well. They're from Germany and Austria, and they work with microbes that produce energy, and they will be showing their work. We have a young designer who's merging like his own culture from India with technology. He calls it tech riolage. He just finished his master's. We have someone who's working on low tech. He's more like a journalist or a writer, and he has the low tech journal in France, etc., etc. I won't be showing all of them, but you can have, yeah, we have a Russian artist, a mathematician who works on tangible math. So I'm working with him actually. This is one of my colleagues, etc. So you can see a little bit of who's using the Fab Lab and who's going to be at Empower Université Paris-Saclay. But Empower University Paris-Saclay is a like annual event. But we have inside the Fab Lab integrated other communities like the hackerspace of the university, who started to knock at the door last year. And this is a group of very interesting people because they are more involved into politics, for example, and this brings a lot of very interesting thoughts for other users who are not really used to that. I'm going to try to find the link here. Here they are. So this is La Distorsion. And for example, what they do that is very interesting is that they gather people around the Wikipedia. For example, they're trying to develop a community around Wikipedia in France. They also gather people to do lectures together on Donna Haraway's work, or like people who have been writing about technologies and society in general. So they are really engaged into that and into computing as well, as you can imagine. Um, and then we have other actors like Prusa Research. We have a very interesting collaboration at the moment because the French representative of Prusa has his office next to mine. So we did this kind of. It's not a venture because there's no commercial a commercial agreement between us, obviously. But somehow we found an equilibrium because he's working next to me. We discuss projects. They provide us with consumables like plastics and stuff like that, even machinery. We still buy from them as well. But this is very interesting. So because they can be part of our course sometimes because they have a very big community of people worldwide. And so this is an interesting moment to have them in-house, I would say. This is not usual. Like even on the legal aspect of it, I'm not sure we're like perfectly set up to be completely transparent. And then we recently had another one, which is a very small company, a small startup that started to develop a 3D printer for electronics. They came from Russia. They moved from Russia recently, a few years ago, and they needed a place to develop their hardware. So we had a contract together. Like they would pay 4,000 euros a year, and they would get like a 20 square meter office where they can develop their hardware, and they would also benefit from the whole ecosystem of the Fab Lab. So they would participate to Empower University Paris-Saclay last year. They would find some people to collaborate with among the people who are using the Fab Lab. Well, you see what I mean? Like people do their connections. I don't even have to be part of them all the time. Um, Then something that is more structural, I would say, at the back of every initiative, like Fab Lab initiative that are local, we have that huge network of Fab Labs around the world that you already know. That is supported by the Fab Foundation. Somehow that's helping all of us to interact between each others through programs and through conferences as well. So you might have been already on that webpage that's called fablabs.io. Your FabLabs might be registered here. This is where you go when you need to find someone or a Fab Lab somewhere. And this has been maintained for years and years and years. And at the moment, like it's not being developed anymore. Like just people keep adding their names and labs on it. Um, but it would need like to be renewed somehow. But it works. I mean, at the moment, I think we have like 2,500 like Fab Labs registered on that platform, Fab Labs and Makerspaces. So it makes this is a huge advantage for someone who's trying to work on the topic of Fab Labs. So if we try to take the map view, you're gonna see like obviously Europe, if it shows Europe will be like crowded, but well, I'll come back to it once it has loaded. Oh, you can see it. You've seen it before, I assume.
Romain, if you can come to a close so we can ask you some questions whenever you can.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm going to close. Um, so you heard of the Fab Foundation, etc. So yeah, one big event for us is the summer conference. So the last one was in Czech Republic with the sponsorship from Prusa Research, and it was really nice. We had a train moving us between Brno and Praga, like a special train that they just like organized it for just for us. And in 2018, I organized the Fab 14 event, which is the main event of the global network in France as well. So I have that experience in me, I would say. Um, and I could stop here, I think.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you. And also congratulations for all these initiatives, which hearing them from you, they all seem connected, but you need really to keep them connected. There are many different things that are, let's say, moving. I don't know if we have questions or doubts for Romain. Um, while you think, I have a very quick one because I have the feeling that you don't need to scale up anymore. I mean, I see your Fab Lab as a rather strong and positioned thing in a university, in the community, connected to many things internationally and also locally. So the question would be maybe even taking one step back. Do you think that you could benefit from something in terms of policy, funding, or other kind of support in order not to become bigger, but maybe just to reach more people? Because you were talking about the commons. I have the feeling there is a lot of open source developments there and approaches. So what would you need and what would be your, I don't think if tomorrow your rector would come and would tell you, you make it 3 times bigger, you would say no.
Yeah,
But
I would say no.
so it's not maybe the matter of becoming bigger or larger. And
You're
Victoria
right.
before was mentioning that they are actually larger. So maybe it's not a matter of becoming bigger, but of becoming, I don't know, more inclusive, more reachable. I don't know. That's just a
You're
philosophical
right.
question for you.
No, I agree with you. Like, I don't want it bigger anymore because it's already like two spaces of 500 square meters, like just Fab Lab IP Saclay, and then you have the other maker spaces who are pretty big as well. This is a lot of investment as well. So part of my job at the courses, like the equipments, for example, I don't know if you can hear, still can hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah, something, yeah, someone's going on my phone. So like what I want to do now is to indeed make sure that all the mentioned, like being staying inclusive, developing programs towards publics we don't really reach out, making sure the courses that we have are staying at the highest quality possible is what I have to do right now. But I don't have the human resources to do it. This is one of the points. So we have a big space, a lot of machine, but then I have to find ways to just to stabilize things, but I cannot develop anymore at the moment because we are two people only. And I've been working on this like for at least 8 or 9 years by myself, alone.
Wow.
So I'm done. I'm done. No, I'm not really done, but I mean, like it's been a lot.
No, but of course the human drive is key in these things and the passion, but we cannot just leave it to your passion, because even if you say, it is a distributed thing, at the end of the day, students or citizens from Paris come to you. I mean, they don't go
Yeah.
somewhere else. So there is also the need to reach out to people in your territory. Some more questions or doubts? Victoria, please.
Thank you. I have a question regarding the how students are implied in helping you piloting or develop some new projects. Is this included in their curricula or in their programs in the university, and how? Because we are now in that very moment where we don't know what to do and how to attract students, and what should they do actually to be motivated.
Hmm. Until recently, there was no way for me to give like to employ like one of the students, for example. So, and when I started to be able to do it, like they are so busy that you cannot really rely on them. Which makes sense. They come to the university to study, so it makes sense. Um, what started to work well was with PhDs, and PhDs have that capacity to somehow more advanced as students. So that worked a bit. So maybe if I could apply that to myself as well. I'm just like thinking loud, but maybe if we had programs with PhDs that would somehow bring in master students, it would work well. Now we're trying, and it looks like it's gonna work. We're trying to hire young people who are not from the university, but this is another type of contract. And it looks like we're having candidates, so we are going to go through that process soon. And then what I do is that when I see that a student like is autonomous, interested, and that he or she relies to others like easily, I start giving them somehow more access, and they start bringing other people in the Fab Lab and they ask for it if they can bring them. So the word like somehow circulates between them. And then some of them have courses in their curriculums.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Another question by Merab, and then we shall move to the panel. Merab, please.
Yeah, I was impressed with this network of organizations, FabLabs. I have seen this website, but somehow I haven't heard about you. And that thank you to the ETF that it's connecting people again. So even in the internet age, sometimes there is lots of information, but you just don't go, or we just go, you're too busy. My question is, was this network growing linearly, or there were some influxes of organizations, and what is their motivation to be in this network?
Like you mean the global network or the local one?
Yes, the global.
The global one. I think most of the people who are starting to be part of the global network are the ones who took, like me, who took Fab Academy. It started with us. But then I think people started to be part of it because there were the conferences like every year, the programs, the Fab Academy and the others, and somehow other ways to collaborate because like the makers and the fabbers are people who are moving a lot. So there was that idea that you could like, you have that inventory in your Fab Lab at your place, and you come to mine and you find the same machines. So there was that idea of collaborating between each others. But yeah, I think this is as simple as that. And maybe as well, there is another thing. It gives leverage to people who are into institutions or even local Fab Labs in districts or neighborhoods to say that online, somewhere, someone recognizes their work as a Fab Lab. You don't have to pay for that. This is free. You have to be co-opted by someone you started the Fab Lab, and then you enter the big family. So you can say, hey, look, I'm applying for this grant and I'm on that platform. And it works. Like it helps people. Sure.
Okay, so different entry points.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. I think we need to move on now to the debate. I think some of the speakers have some short presentations also to let us know what they do, which is also clear. Thank you, Merab, for recognizing. I mean, that's the whole thing. This whole thing is about letting people know about others' work, as obvious, as usual. But the word to you, Merab, and thank you very much, Romain, and stay with us. We might have
Thank
more
you
questions
for
later.
having me. I'll
Thank
stay.
Yeah, and the next panel will have three speakers from different countries. So let's share and listen to them, and then discuss what could be shared, what we learned, and how we can proceed. So Georgi Kezherashvili, head of Tech Parks Georgian Innovation Technology Agency. Victoria Belus, Managing Director, National Center of Digital Innovations in Education, Future Classroom Lab, Moldova. Edin Stalčić, Director and Founder, Sarajevo FabLab from Bosnia and Herzegovina. And first, we asked Georgi to present Georgian experience in FabLabs development.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Happy to be here on your events. I'm at a big conference in Uzbekistan. I hope it's not too noisy around. Can you hear me well?
We don't hear noise, but we hear you, yeah, more or less well. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Just a second, I will try to share the screen. So you see the screen, probably the full screen?
Yes.
So I will try to make it as short as possible, like to tell you a bit story about the George's Maker journey from, and the magic word about decentralization, and a little bit about why I chose the topic, why is decentralization important, why it is a very significant factor to go from the capital to the regions and spread it out all over the other territories, which we so-called like remote areas where the access is not equal to the local communities, and how it is linked with the general education, technical education, overall creating this educational tech ecosystem altogether. As a basis, we are GITA and Georgia's Innovation Technology Agency, and as a core, we are not an educational institution. We support startups, we support creating tech and innovation ecosystem, and education is coming as a supportive mechanism and instruments to create and push the creation of the startups and establishment of new actors and players in this ecosystem as a whole. So our main mission is to create an effective system where the innovation technology can be developed, and basically to the kids across the fields to have access to the latest technology in the tech parks, in the neighborhood area, have access to the FabLab equipment and technologies and human resources and engineers and designers, and also to promote the commercialization of this innovative knowledge, not just to say like education platform, but rather go to commercialize your startup idea and projects and prototypes. But that was not the case like 10 years ago. We started in 2016, opened the very first tech park in Tbilisi and also one in the region. And after this, it is constantly growing, and we quickly realized that developing it in the capital is not enough. And if you centralize all these activities, projects, there will be no result, there will be no outcomes, and there will be no success stories all over the country. So in 2018, 20, 22, 24, and now we are operating 9 tech parks all over the country. And Kutaisi Tech Hub will be the 10th one, the largest one, and it will be the hub in the whole South Caucasus and Central Asian scale, the big regional hub, where not only FabLab and Tech Park will be, but also I will tell you a bit more about that. So the thing is, we do not have FabLab separately. It is integrated within Tech Parks. Tech Parks is also integrated within JITA, this Georgian agency. So they are operating all together. It is not only about hardware. It is not only about prototyping. We have a lot of accelerators, incubators, where we teach them business side, their prototyping. So how to sell, how to market, how to go to research your potential customers. So it's not just about maker culture, although that part is also very important, but also to pushing towards creating a real startups with a commercial potential. I think that's the main distinction between. I was also in Brno and Prague on this Fab Academy, Fab Foundation event, and I think that's quite distinctive what our tech parks are doing differently from the absolute majority of the Fab Labs, which are more focused and concentrating on the maker culture and like operating as a maker space. And business side of these prototypes and products of future is a little bit out of their scope. So we try to integrate it all together. And the outcomes, what have we done? It's in the almost recent years, in 2016, we had over 50,000 beneficiaries in our branches, which Georgia is just 3.5 million population. So maybe as a one glass, it's not a big number, but believe me, it's not a modest outcome in this regard. And also 500 plus prototypes were made by students, entrepreneurs, hobbyists who had absolutely no idea before what prototyping was, what 3D printing was, what 3D scanning was, and so. And we do lots of events and projects like hackathons and sectoral hackathons in the relevant sectors in each region, NASA Space App challenges, and I will list a few of the notable projects. This is hardware prototyping university course, and we entered as a Fab Lab in the universities as part of the curriculum. So their students are selecting the subjects at the university, and they are studying this as our staff is teaching them, and they are getting typical university credits into this. So we are spreading now. We are in 4 universities, and now we are trying to expand a bit more and more. Also, JITA Hardware Startup Incubator. It was a 6-month project twice, and we have started to launch the 3rd phase. So we are basically helping them, teaching them 3D modeling, electronics, together combined with business, so business modeling. So basically, in this incubator in 6 months, they are creating a ready-made business model to go to the market. We created Uniforce, where it is the first national university competition on the selected topic. Last year we had green tech. This year we're gonna have health tech. So all university has one team, and they're competing with each other in the most creative, most innovative projects and prototypes created. Also, this is the first Georgian electric vehicle, which we are going to create together with the university students, which are going to be engineering as well as educational projects. A few notable projects made by our beneficiaries in the regional startups, smart aquaculture farm. I will not go into details. Why this is all created on the incubators or accelerators, or how to say, like hackathons, especially. Like first Georgian also drone with hydrogen generator to increase the flight durations, and smart beehives, smart agriculture. Also another beehives, also robot miner to ensure the safe environment for the mining stuff. And let's go to Kutaisi Tech Hub, which is gonna be like a very central node in the all national network, which will include lots of different spaces with co-working spaces, offices for startups, IT companies, Georgian Patent Office, and also TUMO, Center for Digital Creativity and Creative Technologies, and especially AI Data and Excellence Center. It's going to be the first also AI data center in the region, which is going to develop a lot of electronic LLM models. So except for what we have in typical tech parks and FabLabs, which is electronics lab, which is CNC router and laser cutter and 3D printing and 3D scanning. Also, we have in Tbilisi PCB assembly line, manufacturing for high quantities. But in Kutaisi, we are going to go different concepts. First of all, we're going to have open source robotics R&D lab, and the main advantage of this lab is to have everything open source, everything SDK, open SDK and ROS ready, let's say, for rapid prototyping and for 100% hackable for students and engineers to modify code, learn how to work with AI and automation in the real world environment, to have hands-on experience in experimenting on humanoid and smart robots. We're going to have humanoids, robot dogs, also robot promoter, and this robot arms, everything for open source, mainly for experiments, let's say. We're going to have drones and autonomous systems lab. Also, it's going to have courses, hackathons, internship for job-ready operators, and engineers and pilots. It's going to have structured trainings, and it's going to be like a shared lab where students, researchers, and startups will be doing prototypes, testing, experiments, and turn their ideas into pilots. Also, we are going to have electronics and IoT lab where everything will be available here, like boards, cameras, sensors, where testing and demos will be connected products in weeks, not months. So microcomputers, Raspberry Pis, wireless modules, rich sensor suits, and also Jetson Iris ready learning kits, cameras, touch displays. So everything like a beginner electric engineer would love to have in their environments to do a lot of experiments. And the new concept of FabLab, and especially we are bringing in the first metal 3D printer in Georgia, FDM printer especially. And it will let you, like a hardware teams, print complex metal geometries that are very slow on mill, very difficult on the mills. So it will be safer, low cost, and office friendly. And it's going to have the possibility to create the prototypes, which will not be possible, like very complex things with high detalization, like you see here. So from classroom to production pilots, they will have in this 3D area everything, and it will. Now we are also joined the Fab Academy, Kutaisi Tech Hub, also Tbilisi will operate as Fab Academy nodes within the global network from the next year. Also VR studio, which will be a creator-ready space with all this production gear and SDKs for testing and performance analytics, to build and test and demo this VR AR games, not only games, but also training simulators and multi-user headsets, haptic gloves, suits, special tracking sensors, everything. This now the high-tech and modern tech technologies will be able in one room to create the new mixed reality or extended reality applications. We are developing Science and Technology Museum, which is also a very big innovation here. And we have researched several such kind of museums, which is directly connected to education. Maybe many of you have already been in this kind of concept, but this is interactive. Every exhibit is an interactive. So the kids, the student, they come here, they interact with the exhibits, they do experiments, study physics in a fun way, study electronics, study magnetism, astronomy. It's a very interesting method what I've tested myself to teach, and for it's a completely new word in education. Let's keep the challenges also, and this is our future goals that support the emergence of Georgian-made high-tech products, so like really technological prototypes, let's say. And because in our challenges, most of the startups today, they focus on the software startups because it's much easier to scale. In hardware, you have supply chains, you have logistics, you have manufacturing problems. In software, you do not face those obstacles. So we are still trying to push and stimulate hardware startups as much as we can. And we want to launch successful 20 plus hardware startups on the market by at least 2030. And we want 50% increase in the number of active hardware makers by also 2030. And we are very much intended to enhance participation in the global events and challenges. So as a conclusion, I want to say that based on our example, we could directly underline decentralization really works, and expanding tech parks beyond this PDC has made this innovation more accessible to every kind of remote area, and also the scaling infrastructure and bringing all this equipment and people is very important to bring them close, and because not everyone can go to the capital or central city very often, so it's very, very important, this proximity issue. Challenges still remain, but so does the momentum. So with the right tools and people and vision and strategy and concepts, we hope that we're going to achieve those objectives and targets together with the communities and the platforms like yours, like Park Foundation and many, many our international partners. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Georgi. We are short on time, but before moving to Victoria, I have one question in the context of your and the name of the presentation of decentralization. I'm happy to see this new concepts in Kutaisi Fab Lab, and I can see and you envisage it as an excellent center. Is it planned to get this new concept or new technology or so in some other technoparks in Georgia, and not to keep them in Kutaisi or Tbilisi only?
You know, this we also want to try and experiment how well this will be working, because it's not just opening this kind of center and buying this equipment. You need people who will be working on this AI and automation and also drones and autonomous systems. It's very difficult for the school age kids. So it's more advanced technologies. We chose Kutaisi because there is Kutaisi International University. We have 2 universities. We have lots of graduates of computer science, computer engineering. So there is a human resource there in place who could make those kinds of experiments. In the smaller settlements and rural areas, it's quite challenging to find those kind of people. So we do not want to create empty spaces. So let's see how it goes and how well the local communities will receive these innovations first, and then we could think about scaling.
Great. Thank you. So the floor and the word goes to Victoria Pelos to hear about Moldovan experiences.
Thank you very much. Well, congratulations, Georgi. Very impressive for us. For example, it's, amazing. Yeah. Actually, one of my questions,
Thank you,
until I do the sharing, was do you receive visits? Is it possible for some, I don't know, teams like ours from our university to visit at least some of these tech labs or fab labs?
anytime, Victoria.
Good. Then I will get in touch with you later on and we can see how.
Welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Congratulations. And now I will try to connect with the just a second. Sure. So I'm trying to organize the system settings. Something is wrong in here by me. This one. Well, I don't know what's wrong with my sharing screen. I have prepared a video and a presentation. Actually, we have opened yesterday the first FabLab in one of the schools in the country, and I wanted to show you that video. Oh my God, I checked it earlier and it was okay. Document, maybe that would be easier.
That always happens. In the meantime, congratulations for the opening. That's always good to hear. As well as good to hear these spontaneous collaborations emerging from our work. Okay, there you go. We saw that for a moment, but then it disappeared.
Can we help you some way? Maybe, I don't know if you want to share the link.
Well, this is not only my computer. There are a lot of people work in this computer, so most probably they've changed the settings. I have now the whiteboard. I'm trying to make the... Oh my God. Yeah, but no, this is the whiteboard. Can I leave now the link in the chat so that I will ask, and then I don't know what's happening really. Look, this is the link.
The video is online. Maybe we can share it, or yeah.
This is the link that I wanted to present the center first, and then the schools, because my presentation will be divided today into two parts. First of all, the National Center for Digital Innovations in Education is a prototype or a replica of the project of Future Classroom Lab that comes from Brussels, from Belgium. And in Moldova, it was opened in 2019 as a center in here, 1,000 something square meters, different spaces, laboratories in the pedagogical university. Actually, we became already, I would like to show the 3D tour, if it's possible. This is down in here, yeah. Tour Virtual 3D, this one please. So this is Future Classroom Lab or Clasa Viitorului in Romanian. We are situated in the Pedagogical University. Now we have here a Sala de Conferințe, a huge conference room that is under reconstruction right now. What was talking to Fabio that previously it was a large space for conferences, now will be even more. Can you please press Sala de Conferințe? Thank you, Roberto, for helping me. So this is the previous conference room that we had. We're organizing here robotics competitions for kids because we mostly deal with schools and with K-12 education, with teachers of different disciplines and STEAM education. So in this room, we organize competitions of robotics, competitions of STEAM contests of different kinds. And because the FabLab idea in general for our country came, it's not new, it's also maybe 10, 15 years ago in the technical university, but in the pedagogical university, the way that we want to present now to teachers, it's something new, let's say. This spring, we started to apply to projects and to attract donors and money. And actually, this was one of the questions to Georgi, how do you attract funds to manage to organize and to open spaces like this? So for us, it is kind of difficult in this demand. Roberto, can you please open another one, which is Shape Robotics Laboratory? So
it's Fabio sharing, actually.
Yeah, Fabio, thank you.
Yes.
So what you saw, what you see now, this is one of the laboratories that we have already on the next floor in this same building. This is a laboratory that was a donation from the Romanian government to us, but it has mostly modular robots, such as shape robotics technologies, such as well, the robots that can be put together from 2-3 pieces, and but they need a specific programming and students. That was actually our problem, that we need to attract students from the university to pilot these technologies and to see how well it works, so that we can later include it in their curricula. And it's a tricky thing, and it's kind of difficult for us to do so. Well, but nevertheless, we have some results already with these robots, and they already have been reported to the ministry, and we very much hope that one day it will be included in the curricula, because last year we had the huge reform. See, on the blue board over there, they are included, the robots in there, but we also have a dot where you can press, and this will be the dots in here. So this is Fable Go, so Fable Go and Fable Explore, these are some of the modular robots that we pilot now. Last year we had the huge reform in the curricula at the ministry, and we were asked to present all results on our technologies or educational technologies that we have. Now let's go to another laboratory. Fabio, please. That will be Laboratory Educacional, Laboratory, Educational Laboratory. This is the largest laboratory that we have at the moment, where teachers, students, pupils can come and pilot and explore and even play with all of these technologies. Wherever you press these dots, you have short descriptions of the technologies. The majority of them are already included in the national curricula, but some of them need to be piloted. So we have circuits, we have VR glasses, we have Ozobots and different other robots. This is the document camera. We have Lego pieces and different kind of educational technologies for inclusion, such as Genibots, Matata Labs, and like this Ozobot, for example. So in here, in this space is divided into two. This is the laboratory. The orange part room is the maker space. Here we have some printings, 3D printers, and some small corner of the maker space, but it's much smaller. We would like to extend it and have already plans for extending it for another 4 floors, additional construction starting from next year. But at the moment, we attracted some new funds from partners to start these maker spaces and FabLabs in schools. So let's move to next laboratory. We have another laboratory on the same floor. It is robotics room. As I said, we are the national implementer of the national robotics program on educational robotics program in the country. So we offer not only consultations and courses on robotics, but also organize and are the host of the first Lego League contest on a national level. This is organized in 3 types: Explore for small kids, and Challenge for Gymnasium and Lyceum. And lately we were approved to be organizing and hosting the FTC, First Tech Challenge competition. All of these technologies are disseminated, and we have endowed 123 schools or 123 laboratories in national schools in the country. Teachers come in here in our premises for courses, for consultations, for different types of contests and programs that we offer to them together with the Ministry of Education. And this is what we do in general under the pedagogical umbrella of the pedagogical university. That's more or less, well, we have a studio also. If you press the studio, then you see that we have a podcast studio for the educational community. And here we have interviews, we invite people to share opinions and to debate some problems or challenges that we face. But mostly we do in this studio is digital content for digital content for the digital literacy program for teachers. Now, I am very sorry. I would like to share a video of a Fab Lab that was opened yesterday in one of the southern regions in Moldova. As I said, starting from this spring, we applied to a very huge program that was funded by the UMIF organization. This is Ukrainian Moldovan American Enterprise Fund. And we obtained this $1.6 million for endowing and for preparing these 13 Fab Labs in the regions. So we will have 13 schools that will have these educational Fab Labs for pupils, for students. And later on, we hope very much that they will come to the university or to our premises for consultations. But now please help me. How should I open this video to you, or how do I?
Victoria, I think we are a bit short of time, so I suggest maybe we keep the video for the end as the big news of the day. Actually, that's a big development, and maybe we move. I wouldn't like to, we have still one speaker.
Okay. I invite you all to check for our sites and for our page on Facebook, because a lot of information will start appearing regarding to the Fab Labs in schools.
Fantastic.
And will be open for questions.
Sure, we will have time for the question then. And now, Aidin, please. I know you don't have slides, or at least haven't had it, but you can tell us everything you like about your experiences.
Thank you. Yes, can you hear me well? Yes, you can. I don't have many presentations with slides. I thought it's going to be more discussion. But I can share a couple of things. This was recently prepared for VET forum in Denmark. And I will briefly tell the history, kind of not to repeat of the most of the speakers before. So our biggest challenge was and still is a huge gap in what students have and what they know, and they're pretty much textbook heavy teaching, which we usually have, and how we grew up and started it up is most of us currently in a Fab Lab is actually coming from the real sector. So we've been deep tech engineers working on either universities or industry on real tech, deep tech projects. So most of the core team, 5-6 people, is around that, and we started it roughly in 2019. Switch from the industry. We said that if we don't do nothing in our country, it's going to fall. So we are non-profit private association registered at the national level. So we're a little bit different than everybody else. So we're a bottom-up organization. So we invested our own money to build up the FabLabs and what we actually own in our system. We also had different approaches because we actually knew what industry needs, what is demand on both sides from graduates or the vet students. We also know that problem sits way back in like primary schools. But we started it in 2020 officially. Created the first Fab Lab around 200 square meters, mostly around additive manufacturing. At the same time, we taught, and we were at the university ground because we had the strategic partners, largest university in the country. But we started with the ideas in the sphere of the education is how to do the short training courses for professionals. But unfortunately, even at that time, the Fab Lab Academy or Fabri Academy was sparsely available in the world. I mean, you can get it in several places, but not everywhere. And we were exploring ideas about micro badges and micro learning, which even though with a network of huge network of Fab Labs, I mean, there's probably 2,000 Fab Labs in the world. there was no structural training. That is actually same for everyone. So if you take the same printer, you take the Prusa printer, somebody just mentioned it, you would get different trainings throughout all the FabLabs. We structured our FabLab on a little bit different model because we had a heavy background in innovation. So we are very accustomed to intellectual property, writing, examining patents, and matching the technology. Something that is important to scale the technology if you have some new items. And our core lab is about the rapid prototyping of the new products. So they can come from mechanical or electronical or mix of devices. So we have very various and vast span of the technology and the products that are created. We probably support over 40, 50 startups a year. And they can be high tech or they can be low tech. So it can be from basic cup holder in your car that somebody thinks it's going to be a great company, all the way to the medical health devices that we have one inventor with 44 patents in the last 2 years, granted patents, which is a lot. So the innovation path in our side comes in a mix of the education and obviously the startup side or the business side. So the usually companies, SMEs, corporations do innovate also, or they don't have enough capacity to develop their own new product or iteration of the product, and this is where we step in. So we are experts in building the products originally. On our education side, the problem that we discovered, obviously, that I just described, and the one that you see on the screen, is having exact standardized across or adjusted to different regions. The trainings were not available. So we actually started very early with the European Institute of Innovation Technology and their manufacturing and urban mobility side and the academy, where we joined the projects to create, that's in Corona time, because everything started to be online, digital, remote, to create hybrid training. So there is a lot of online MOOC platforms, but not necessarily do combine hands-on training. So because we are heavy touch lab, I mean, we have all these labs. It's physical. You can come in and work anytime. It's open door policy. Idea was to create a lot of new technology, how to connect to various remote machines, do conducted trainings and hands-on. Most of our trainings is currently available at the EIT Manufacturing Academy. So here there's about 4,000 trainings for professionals mostly, so it's graduates. You can filter the trainings by various technologies. They're standardized digital nuggets and the learning paths. So the methodology used here is combining most of these trainings, hands-on and the online component. So you can quickly, within week, get expertise boosted up to the degree that is necessary for your job or for industry, that requirement. So these trainings are mostly hosted here. We have about 30 right now on a display, everything from collaborative robotics all the way through. We continuously throughout the year handle these courses. Our sphere was not actually fully satisfied here because the process to get approved one of these learning net paths or digital nuggets is very long. So it takes about 6 to 8 months. Usually it's developed together with the 5 to 6 universities. It's very hard to get stuff up. Once it's up, it's very easy to update curriculum or any changes to the technologies that is there. Our work is usually switched to a web system. We have a lot of Erasmus Plus capacity building projects that we're trying to push technology closer to the web schools because the teachers don't get advocate trainings. They do have the equipment, but they don't know the knowledge. They have no knowledge how to do it. So I think I've seen it in all countries in Europe that centers get built. A lot of money get wasted in a lot of equipment, millions and millions euros, and then the equipment sits down. So I think I heard some questions here that how do you connect the industry with with the actually needs and who's going to be working and coming in these places? Well, that's the first FabLab thing that was supposed to be solved. It actually has to come naturally from bottom up. Otherwise, you cannot uh, proceed with universities contacting directly or the high tech centers that do not have the connection with industry. So connection with industry is a root. If there's no clients, if there's no need, if you don't know what is the problem, you cannot match demand and supply. So we actually, most of our projects are connected directly with industry. So this one is European-wide project, changing the syllabus and curriculums in 7 countries with the 3D modeling, 3D printing, and 3D scanning. So full components. It's actually all rolled up with the industry. We have 7 industry partners that are actually quite very well established. So another project is connecting or giving opportunity for the high school students and vet students to actually get access to very expensive equipment. We have in our labs robots worth, collaborative robots worth 50, 100,000 euros with AI cameras. And not every school can actually afford this first to get it and then the training. So the idea is to use metaverse, AR, VR systems to actually connect and have in real time control with robot where you actually have the live video stream what you're doing. And then it gets slotted into various things. So this is how we push technology into various regional schools that actually can get then access and get trained to whatever is needed by the industry. So everything is online, everything is digitalized. The hands-on component are actually there. This is the latest one that we created is a novel methodology. So it's based around the challenge. It's not we usually deploy project or work-based methodology learning. So this one is about the challenges. So we use the online platform created. Everything's online, but we connected industry. So industry defines the problem. It's all automated. It's all digital. The problem gets dropped down to the organizer level that actually immediately engages the schools. They're pre-certified, they're in the system. Schools distributed to the students. Students get activated by joining to various challenges. They form their own team. It's gamification platform. And they start with the small learning nuggets. They digest first what is needed, and all curriculums are actually pre-built, all material is built. So we have very large library, then we select which courses they need to attend before they go in developing and finishing the challenge. So the challenge is submitted in the form of the video or PowerPoint. And then the challenge is actually winner is selected by the industry proponent because he formed the challenge already. So this is in a short the connection with the industry, which we have a lot industrial projects, and it's very easily then maintainable structure, scalable structure. We currently have several locations in the town. We're developing several living labs that are actually connected to us. In the country, we have about 7 to 8 FabLabs in the network, innovation labs, but they are not run by us. They are actually been already on the ground for many years, at least 4 to 5 years, and we actually approached them and integrated them in the system. So it's not a franchise, it's not sending or getting the opening because they know the market, they know the industry players, they know the education needs, they have the local schools, they know their local terrain. So finally, this is across sectors because we do a lot of, I have a lot of experience with artists coming to the lab. So this is one of the Creative Europe projects that they actually go through digital art workshops in various fields, and then they move to cross-border art projects. So this is across 5, 6 countries. They have to create a team. They develop everything online. I mean, they can create it physically, but they load projects on the platform. And then they go through out of the many events that we have in a region. They're actually slotted throughout the year where actually can they display the stuff. We are also the host of the Sarajevo Maker Fair, which gathers about probably the biggest in the region, about 200 exhibitors, about 1,000 makers every year, and about 10,000 visitors at least. So this is in a nutshell what we do. So.
Thank you very much. We actually used all of our time, but I'm happy to see so many enthusiasts from different sectors. Basically, it appears that we have this university, you have business, industry, and association, but we also have the government, and in different forms. I mean, two approaches. One, Gigi, Georgi is from Minister of Economy, it's a structure on the Minister of Economy, and Victoria, it's on the Minister of Education. So different paths. I think we have plenty material for discussion, and I'm happy this team gets some attention. So the AI doesn't have this crown which everyone goes to. But let's hope all your initiatives and this connection and the networking brings more results. I have one short questions to each remaining panelist. Gigi has left. I wanted to ask him some questions as well, but we can invite you to this new Kutaisi Center. By the way, I'm in the Kutaisi now. Center is not ready yet, but soon we can start sending out invitations. So one question to Victoria, you mentioned these curriculum changes. So it's, I guess, what level it covers? Can you say like if you were a little bit more about this changes in curriculum regarding robotics?
Yeah, so
you mentioned.
once in 5 years, this actualization or updates in curricula happens in our ministry, okay? Last year, they started this reform, and regarding the discipline technological education, they wanted to add robotics from a previously optional discipline into this technological education separate module. So at the moment, we have already 1 year since robotics is added as additional module in the permanent discipline or in the obligatory discipline, technological education. That's one module. The second module is 3D printing and modeling and 3D printing. The third one is educational drones, and the fourth one is intelligent agriculture. So 4 new modules have been added since last year in this new curricula for all classes. And 2 of my colleagues were the authors of the curricula. That's why we are investing very much in robotics. I didn't say that we have 270 clubs, educational robotics clubs in the country. Whether this is in schools or libraries or in some other centers, and all these pupils with teachers come to contests and to consultations to us. So we're very much interested in these reforms in the ministry as a policy to maybe one day to put robotics as a separate discipline. That's what we are lobbying for.
Thank you. Good to hear. One question to add in. So, I mean, do you own in any forms these spin-offs, startups, or invest in them as an angel or as a venture capitalists?
Of course.
So because
Yeah, definitely. So there's various concepts on this, how they approach it. If they actually go the startup way and they need additional support, I guess we would either. Our ecosystem is very wide. We are also Digital Innovation Hub. We work with a lot of VC funds that are available in our country. It's not much, but it's just beginning. At least it's not developed like in Western Europe. But we also do set up the startups to go on the various large events like a Web Summit in Portugal. We sent like 5 startups. But yes, so we actually do have co-shared models, co-creation models, co-investment models. Or they just work for the money. But it's very hard to manage a large number of the projects because obviously it's limited to the capacity of the engineers and the experts. So we tend to select the ones that we think they're the best, and this is where we actually focus most of. Otherwise, they can use facilities by themselves. They go to the trainings, or they can go through short support days. So we would have at least 1 hour a day sharing. If there's like 5 startups inside, they could then ask questions in 1 hour. But we don't have a whole days for 10 people, engineers, 20 people to support their activities. But yes.
Thank you so much. Before moving to Elena, if participants have questions, maybe they can put them to the chat, and then we'll think about how to answer them. So, because we are already over the time. Thank you so much. It was really very interesting, inspiring. Now, Elena, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was really interesting and very coherent discussion, very, very interlinked. And Fabio already pre-announced my announcement. So I just wanted to share quickly 2 points that were triggered by today's discussion and which will lead me to the announcement. So just 2 takeaways. One would be on the, it was mentioned many times. For example, I picked up from Romain that he was saying, I was an artist and then I was not supposed to be there, but I took the responsibility and I jumped into this. Or it was like, you can only graduate if you have documented everything. No? Or we created a local community. So we go there, we take the practices, then we go back. So this whole discussion about STEM or STEAM demonstrates that we only succeed if we combine all the different competencies, occupational and key competencies that are needed to be successful in different entrepreneurial activities, in innovating, in doing your job well, or in searching for a new job, or in being successful with your family, with your life aspirations. So there are 2 parallel processes going on as we see it from the ETF. On the one hand, there are political priorities which could be the same for several years, or they could be different. So we remember the times of critical thinking or creative thinking or visual thinking, or for example, there is a dual transition political message that we need to follow, or the entrepreneurial skills, the skills for entrepreneurship, digital. And so if it all comes back to teachers, to educators, and they change the direction every time, and they add a new course, or they add some new module or something else, then of course it means that there will be no time for anything else, and the other priorities will go down. So what we are trying to do in ETF, we are trying to promote, but also to demonstrate how integrated learning outcomes approach works in key competence development. And so the other very important topic that we are following is the assessment as learning, so that we would master formative assessment is one of the forms of it, to make sure that learners and teachers and everyone could reflect and could follow their path by reflecting on the success. So we are going to announce a competition very soon, a couple of weeks, that will be looking for innovative practices on integrated learning outcomes approach, cross-curricular way of designing and implementing learning experiences. So this is for educators, for teachers, who would need to demonstrate how practically they manage to make the learning outcomes more 3D. And for your FabLabs experience, it tells a lot, no? So you make them more complex, more interesting, and more relevant to life, to real context of life. And so we would like to find the innovative practices which demonstrate how more than 2 key competence could be developed through different learning design techniques, methodologies, instruments, tools, etc. And the priorities are, of course, STEM and STEAM, digital and sustainability competence, and entrepreneurial competence, and the life competence, something which is called in the EU policy context, life comp, personal social learning to learn. So we'll be looking for these innovative experiences. And we will have an event next year so that some winners of this competition will have a chance to have a final round of this competition in the setting within this event, which we hope that will be super crazy and creative. So we encourage you and your colleagues to consider this and watch our website. And thank you very much. I hope this works as a conclusion for today's debate.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank
Soon.
you.
Stay tuned for the
Bye.
competition.
That's
For the
Thank
great.
you. Bye.
Bye
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Edin, Roman.
Thank you, everyone.